Hello, good day to everyone. My dear students, I hope that you will be viewing my video in order to answer the performance task to be given at the end of the presentation. The lesson for today is on angle of elevation and angle of depression. So this is one of the interesting topics in the study of trigonometry in Mathematics 9. For the objectives for today, are the following: describes angle of elevation and angle of depression, relates angle of elevation and depression in real life situation. And for number 3, this will be our performance task, illustrates angles of elevation and depression. So try to bear in mind that after viewing this video, you will be answering the performance task, and that will be your assignment. So we will have an activity for today. In each of the following illustrations, you are going to identify whether angle A is an angle of elevation or angle of depression. So try to prepare 1/4 sheet of paper and you will answer whether it is an angle of elevation or angle of depression. You can write capital letter E for elevation and capital letter D for depression. For number 1, angle A is called elevation or depression. Then number 2, are you ready now? Have you answered number 1? And number 2, we have angle A is elevation or depression. Next, we will proceed to number 3. What angle is angle A? Depression or elevation? And for number 4, we have angle A again. Do not include B. We will focus only on angle A. Is it elevation or depression? And we have number 5. Angle A is called, so this are angle A is 1. So all angle A's only. Do not include the other angle. So I hope that you have your answer already for number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. And let us check your work before we will end the session. How will you define an angle of elevation? How about an angle of depression? So the angle of elevation of an object as seen by an observer is the acute angle formed by the horizontal line, eye level. So we have here the observer. We have the observer here, and this is the line of sight. And we have here the horizontal line. We have here the theta, and this is the angle. This is the angle formed between the line of sight and the horizontal line, and the line from the observer's eye to the object. So observer's eye to the object. So the line from the observer's eye to the object, which is the line of sight, that is located higher than the observer. So meaning the line of sight is located higher than the observer. If this is the observer, this is the line of sight, higher than the observer. And the angle formed is called the angle of elevation. Let us try to check your answer later. Angle of depression is an acute angle formed again by a horizontal line, the eye level, and the line of sight of the observer when looking at an object that is located lower than the observer. If this is your observer and this is the horizontal line, And this is the line of sight to the object. So horizontal line, and this is the observer. So the angle or the horizontal line is located lower, or the line of sight of the observer when looking at an object that is located lower than the observer. So the object is located lower than the observer. So the observer will look down. And this is now the angle formed. The angle formed is angle of depression. Do not be confused of the observer here. It's different. We have only the observer here to focus. And this observer will look down. And the angle formed here from the horizontal line and the line of sight is called the angle of depression. So I hope that you have already understand the definition of the angle of depression and angle of elevation. We have here a diagram, and we have here the observer, point P, and this is the horizontal line, and it is expected that this observer will look down. And this is the line of sight. And the angle formed is called the angle of depression. And this is angle 2. While observer T, this is the observer T, and you have here angle 1. The observer T, this is the line of sight, and this is the horizontal line. The angle 1 is called angle of elevation. Since the observer will look up, the observer here will look up into the object, while the observer P here will look down. Okay, so we have the angle of depression. So in the diagram, we have angle 1 as the angle of elevation from the tower T to plane P. Angle 2 is the angle of depression from the plane to the tower. So we have here classifying angles, whether it is elevation or depression. So we have here angle 1 is formed by a horizontal line and a line of sight to a point below the line. So angle 1 here is called angle of depression. How about angle 4? This one. Angle 4. Elevation or depression? Angle 4 is formed by a horizontal line and the line of sight to a point above the line. And then this is angle of elevation. So this time we're going to illustrate the given situation using your materials. So it is expected that you have there one whole bond paper. You can also use your digital materials here, right? So just prepare your one whole sheet of paper, pencil, ruler. So from the top of a tower, a forest ranger sees his partner on the ground at an angle of depression of 40. If the tower is 45 feet in height, how far is the partner from the base of the tower? Okay, so you have there a fire tower, so you will draw. You will draw the fire tower, and then a forest ranger sees his partner on the ground at an angle of depression of 40. So you have 40 as angle of depression. So you have also the height of the tower, which is 45 feet, this one. The height of the tower is 45 feet. And then you have here the angle of depression, which is 40. Question, how far is the partner from the base of the tower? So remember, you are not going to solve the problem, but you are only illustrating the problem. Do you have already your illustration? Let us check this one. Okay, you have here, this is a tower, right? And you have here 40 degrees. This 40 degrees is angle of depression. And this 45 feet is the height of the tower. And this one, X, unsa man yung X? Let's go back to the problem. From the top of a fire tower, a forest ranger sees his partner on the ground. So there are two uh, persons here involved. A forest ranger from the top of a fire tower who sees his partner on the ground at an angle of depression of 40. If the tower is 45 feet in height, how far is the partner from the base of the tower? So this is your unknown. We're going to solve for this. The distance of his partner from the base of the tower. So that will be uh, the unknown x. Again, there is no need to solve here. Any questions here? You can comment below for your questions. Next, number 2, a tower again. Remember that we can use a tree or the building. Yes. So at a certain distance away from the tower, a man on the level ground observes that the angle of elevation of the top of the tower is 41 degrees. How far is the man from the tower? So what will be your illustration? You have here man's lines of sight, and you have here eye level or the level ground, and you have here the height, which is 15.24 meter. So what is asked in the problem, how far is the man from the tower? Again, you are also solving for the values of x here. This one will be this one. So you're going to solve for the distance. Okay, this one. We're going to solve for the height. Next is the application to real life situation. Can you cite situations in your daily life which relate to the angle of elevation and depression? If yes, give your example. You can comment down below for your example. If you're going to look up in the sky, if you're going to look up the sky, it means you are creating an angle of elevation. Once you look down on the ground, you are drawing angle of depression. There are many uh, situations which we can relate this elevation and depression, right? Positive outlooks in our life means angle of elevation. Our health, good health, peace, our success, no? We have graduating students nowadays, elementary, high school, and college. That is success. Yes, but we have also experienced downs in our life. That's depression. We have suffered the with that, no, the bad effect of death, the pandemic, and any negative things in our life which can be considered as our depression. Okay, so you have your own uh, situations that you can relate in real life situation. You can comment down below. Okay, so for our generalization, we are only talking of the two, depression and elevation. When we talk of angle of elevation, we're going to look up, while elevation, while depression, we're going to look down only. So when we say elevation, it is an angle formed by the line of sight and the horizontal line. Once the observer looks up, while the angle of depression is an angle formed by the line of sight and the horizontal line once the observer will look down. Okay, so in each of the following illustration, we will identify now whether the angle A is an angle of elevation or angle of depression. And then you can answer this, or you can check already your answer. For number 1, angle of elevation. For number 2, angle of depression. For angle 3, angle of depression. Number 4, angle of elevation. And for angle A, number 5, is called angle of elevation. Well, congratulations for those who got a perfect score. That's 10 over 10. 2 points each. Yes. So for your performance task, you are going to read the problem and illustrate using any materials. You can have a screenshot and take a picture and send it to my messenger. So you have there a ladder leans against a 6-meter high wall and reaches the top. If the ladder is inclined with the ground at an angle of 60 degrees, how far is the foot of the ladder from the wall? Jason is on top of a 40-meter cliff. He observed a boat which is 80 meters away from the base of the cliff. Find the angle of depression of the boat. Thank you, and for your references.